Lab is for every single kid in the entire building. Every kid gets to visit in the span of 3 weeks. So we have pre-K students come, we have our special needs classes come, Go Center, Base School, everybody gets to visit the STREAM Lab. It is a space dedicated to integrating all of the subjects together. And we focus on engineering projects. So when students come to the STREAM Lab, we do some sort of design challenge, but it's based or related to what they do in class.
My kids love this STREAM Lab. They cannot wait to come. They want to come every week. And so we have to do other things in the classroom because we can't come up here all the time. But this is their favorite place to be.
They love to be able to come in and create and get to do hands-on things.
My kids, they like the STREAM Lab. They're in 2nd grade, and so what they do when they come in here, they're able to problem solve, and I like that a lot about STREAM Lab.
The feedback from students has been great. Every time I pass them in the hall, are we coming to the STREAM Lab today? When are we coming to the STREAM Lab? So they can't wait to get in here. They know that they will have their hands-on materials and new projects, things they hadn't seen before. So their excitement is at a very high level, and it's contagious to me and to the teachers. And then I've had instances where kids go home and say, or come back and say, I went home and I tried this, and look at this thing that I found. And so I feel like they're taking what they're learning here and continuing it at home too.
My favorite part is when we get to do different activities and we get to switch groups, and then we'll get to create different stuff.
The STREAM Lab, I think it's really fun because it's different than like regular classroom work, since like we get to make like products and experiment with like almost like it's a board game or like a game that's fun, or like a puzzle, and like get to play around, but we're learning at the same time.
I've learned that you can make anything just using small amount of materials. I really thought making a robot using a cup and a motor and markers and tape and a battery, it wouldn't work. But it did, and it was awesome.
I learned that we can build anything, we just have to put our heart into it.
I've learned how to be more cooperative with my friends so that we can make something that's really cool.
One of the other goals that we've had for the STREAM Lab is to let kids experience failure and then have an opportunity to work through that in a safe space. Even as adults, that's a tricky thing. When we're working on something and it fails, it doesn't work, we just want to like shut down and give up. And we see that in our students in the regular classroom. And so that's a word that we talk about a lot in here. If it doesn't work, what do? Figure out what's not working and keep trying. And so I think that has been an advantage of this space, is giving them an opportunity to fail, figure out what was wrong, and keep trying.
I've learned that don't just give up really quickly, try again.
I've learned about not giving up, and because I'm just gonna try over again what I did.
I've learned how to build stuff, how to work together.
I think one of the good outcomes of the STREAM Lab has been the just introduction to vocabulary and materials and tools that the students have never seen, and just exposure to things that they're not familiar with. So that's been one benefit that the teachers have commented. I feel like overall it's helping students to be problem solvers and not expect just one right answer and wait until that answer comes, but to be more creative. And then a lot of the projects that we do are collaborative. And I think that some of the teamwork that we've done in the STREAM Lab sort of spills over into their regular classroom and helps them to collaborate more.
One of the biggest things that I see that is happening with my kids is that they're learning to work together, and they're learning to problem solve and figure out how to fix things. And working together is one of the biggest things that makes me happy, because at the beginning we struggled, but this is our 3rd time and they really are doing well in here and working together as a team.
I'm hoping to see more growth, and people who tend to be more shy, I want them to become leaders, and for the people that are leaders to learn how to, give that power to somebody else, or they share the power instead of, bumping heads with a different team member.
Teamwork, you have to stick with each other, and you always have to you always have to agree with something, and you can't do anything different. You have to stick together.
Working as a team makes it better all the time.
we can each do a part, and if one is finished with their part, they can help us with our other parts.
Working together, it's all about one person doing one part and another doing another part. That was the big part to getting our project done.
There's two different ways that we've incorporated robotics and some coding kinds of things. One is that every student in the whole school participated in the Hour of Code, and that was back in the winter. And the Hour of Code is where it's a national event that tries to get all students introduced to computer programming, at least just a little bit, to let them know that's out there, and build interest. And so we've used some of those robotics kinds of tools like Spheros and Ozobots and different apps on the iPads to introduce students at all levels to coding and the basics of giving instructions and following instructions.
One day we played with Spheros, and we got to code how the robots would move around on the floor.
One of the other ways that we've used our robotic tools, like the Ozobot and the Sphero, are for incentives. And the teachers choose students that are demonstrating that they are bucket fillers, people that are being kind toward their classmates or following directions in class. And the teacher can, every 3 weeks, can select 2 students to come to the STREAM Lab and receive their reward. And so I have a smaller group of students, usually 12 at a time, that come and we try some of those different tools together. We have used them in class too for other kinds of projects. The 5th graders worked on a project related to the Summer Olympic Games and created a new sport for their Ozobot to participate in, and then the arena where they would play their sport. But the main thing here is that it's just exposure to some of those kinds of things, and I'm hoping to build interest that might continue on into middle school or high school. In 4th grade, students have to study what watersheds are and learn about Virginia's watershed. And that's a really hard thing to understand and learn out of a book. So in the STREAM Lab, we were able to create a model of a watershed together as a group, and we used materials that we had here to make rolling hills like in the Piedmont region, and then we added pollution, different things to represent the pollution, and then they added precipitation with water bottles and watched what happens as everything drains into one place. And so we were really able to let them see what a watershed was.
I want them to be able to be more creative and think outside the box. Sometimes it's hard to just do the same thing over and over again and not challenge yourself. So I'm hoping after a year that when they get to 2nd grade that they're gonna challenge themselves a little bit more and have a little bit more fun with it.
My hopes for them is to like science and like, what the STREAM Lab is all about, become an engineer and that type of thing.
My biggest hope for them is that they let go of the fear. Some of my kids really struggle with just being able to try something, and we're trying to change that mindset that we're all born smart and that they don't have any control over that, and they really do have control over how smart they are, and it's all through the experiences that they engage in the classroom and also in the STREAM. So my biggest hope for them is that they let go of the fear, that they aren't afraid to try new things, and that they realize their potential.